Hi everybody, JJ here with Experiences with My Dog, and you can see that I've got Ultron and I've got Bowie right here. They're chilling with me because we're going to be taking a look at PawPack. So this is a subscription service if you guys are not familiar with it. They've been around for a little while. They're recently celebrating now their 2-year anniversary. Essentially what they are is they are a delivery service which includes everything from treats to chews to toys for your dog on a monthly basis. So there's different reviews out there that take a look at this service as a whole. My kind of take on it was I wanted to be able to do it consolidated, hi buddy, across 3 months. So essentially giving you guys a little bit bigger picture of what you could kind of expect. Now, of course, every month you're going to get different items, so you're not going to necessarily see these same items, but you might see the same type of treats, might see the same type of toys, chews, and definitely maybe representative of some of the companies that they're working with. So we've got 3 months worth of PawPack that we're going to be taking a look at, seeing what Ultron and Bowie's thoughts are, as well as my thoughts on what's included with this. So Ultron, let's get it started. High five, buddy. High five. Yeah. All right, let's get this review started PawPack style. So first box that we have here, I want to make a couple of quick notes before we get started with our reviews here, is that I will be doing a secondary review. Hey, Ultron. Okay. No, come here. Come here. Come here, buddy. I'll be doing a secondary follow-up review that will talk a bit more about the service. I plan to do some follow-up questions with PawPack. And just kind of find out about a couple of different aspects behind how they run their company, their products, their sourcing, and things along those lines. So here we're going to predominantly focus on just what's included. How you doing, buddy? Good job. One thing I will quickly note, though, is I do like there's pretty much minimal packaging here that we have here. They pretty much just use a cardboard box. This is fairly similar to most of the companies that do these type of subscription services. So this is great because this is recyclable, so we're not doing a lot in terms of waste. I don't know what type of ink, though, that they utilize. There are different types of inks. Some are much more friendly to the environment than others, so that might be interesting to find out. And we'll definitely try our best to do that. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. Okay, so we've got the classic wrapping. So they give you a little bit of wrap here, and pretty much par for the course, they're always going to include some type of card. So you can see right here, this is the card for this month. And this will actually break it down. So this was for April, and they will let you know essentially everything that's included in the box, along with some additional details if you want to find out a little bit more specifically, you know, the manufacturer, along with some additional notes regarding the product. So that's nice, especially if you're interested maybe in that company or in that product and you want a little bit more. So let's take a closer look and see what we've got in here. Okay, so first things first, we've got a rope toy. Some people might refer to this as a toy, but definitely you should be using ropes as essentially as a tug toy. It's best used for your dog because you don't want to leave them unsupervised. Digesting these guys can be bad for your dog, but that's actually one of the really nice things. This is from a company from the UK, from Great Britain, that I really like. They do a lot of really things in terms of focusing on sustainability, in terms of their product sourcing, and the quality overall, and the focus on really not having anything that would be bad for not only the environment but for your pet. This is actually interesting. It's made from natural plant fibers, so it's yes, he's interested. Ultron's favorite thing is he loves to play tug. One of the really nice things is that because there's no toxin, there's no additives in here, if the dog was to ingest some of this, because also the composition of the hemp, it can break down much more easily with inside the inner tract of your dog. So that's a positive because a lot of times people don't realize these ropes, when they get digest inside of the dog, can actually cause sometimes damage and different problems and things like that. So it can be pretty expensive vet bills and stuff like that. So always want to supervise your dogs, but this is a really nice item. And it's also a little bit more difficult to find. One of the things that PawPack advocates is that they work with small boutique companies in terms of what they're sourcing. So I like to be able to see better quality items like this that focus on sustainability, eco-friendliness, and great things for your pets. So this is nice to be able to see included. Now, in addition to that, this is also something I was really excited to see. So pretty much all the bowls that we have here that we feed Bowie and Ultron with are stainless steel or ceramic, some type of stoneware. Those are my favorites. I don't like plastic just because of one, that it's not really something that you want to focus on in terms of sustainability and eco-friendliness. Yes, Ultron. Okay, here, come here. Good boy. So here, the nice thing with the Beco Bowl is you get something that you think looks like plastic, but this is actually made from bamboo and husk fibers. So it's a renewable resource, so it's sustainable, but it's dishwasher safe. It's very, very, very durable. So this is a great item, and the size actually I think really works pretty well. We ordered essentially the kit for Ultron in mind. Ultron's about 50 pounds. I actually went with the 50 pounds or greater because I feel that generally complements his interest in terms of the type of chew toys and things that he wants. but this is a fantastic type of product to see. So that's Bowie there in the background. I think she's interested in seeing what Ultron's checking out here. So another really nice addition. So next here we've got, let's see, I believe this is, what we have here, this is K9 Tough. So actually I'm familiar with this toy. I've seen this in a couple of different retail spots. Interesting enough, actually Ultron has had this toy early. And now I'm not generally the biggest fan of plush toys. The main reason why is from a sustainability standpoint, a lot of times it's not something that people are thinking about. And the sourcing and different things like that ends up being something that's not very sustainable. And a lot of times I feel that the quality and the construction of these don't really meet, I think, the demands of really almost any type of dogs. I think that they end up being something that gets thrown away. So I would really love to see PawPack have an option to essentially that if you don't want these type of items included, you can defer to not have them. Now, you know, over time, if you want to do things like stitch them up and keep them for the long term, you can try to do that, but some dogs will annihilate these type of products. Very easy pretty much to kind of rip the arm out. You've got stuffing in here on top of that, which is something you don't want your dog to ingest. You know, so this Barker's toy, I think it's okay. I think if you want to use this as a little bit of a tug toy to play with your dog and kind of have them, you know, engage with you, you can really make it last quite a bit longer. At the same time too, depending on the strength of your dog and how they want to be able to play tug, you may still end up ripping this fairly quickly. So, you know, decent product, I guess, to include. I think it really depends on your dog's interest and what you're looking for. Personally, for me, I'd like to see the option of not having this. Now, PawPack does state, and we'll try it out actually with one or two of the items that maybe we had here and see if it's possible for them, that they are willing to exchange any items that you're not satisfied with. So you do want to keep that in mind. There's a squeaker in there. Both of them do love squeakers. So there you go. You got a Barker's toy right there. So next up here, let's see what we got. Oh, this is probably one of my absolute favorite things. In the very much same way I was really excited to see Beco Ultron. Come here. Come. Good boy. Come sit. See the Beco products included. Tucker's is probably my favorite manufacturer of premium dog food and treats. They make absolutely top-notch stuff. It's a source from the United States, which is something that also PawPack advocates. Now, their toys, you're not necessarily always going to be sourced here in the United States, but in terms of a lot of their foods, they're focusing on the United States, and they do have options in terms of grain-free. So this right here is going to be their Barkin blends. This is a freeze-dried treat, so of course that helps to maximize flavor, aspects of nutritional value. Ultron, he's very interested in terms of what we got here. This is their beef and bacon flavor, and I think he's absolutely going to enjoy this. So let's go ahead and keep taking a look here. So moving here from our Tuckers, Barkin blends, beef and bacon, which I absolutely think Ultron's going to love. Also for you guys that might find that you have a pickier dog, these also make fantastic toppers. You can also rehydrate them with a little bit of water, or you can give them just straight up. Just really depends up to you, but really nice stuff. So this is something that I think a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with, and they don't have access to in many stores. Some of you might be familiar with bully sticks, which they're great natural truths, fully digestible, don't really serve a lot of the concerns that you have with something like rawhide, which a lot of people might be giving their dogs, which I'm not a fan of. This is another actually fairly long-lasting chew that's 100% fully digestible. This is what's called BackStrap. It's actually part of the beef in the cow that essentially doesn't generally get used because it's too tough in terms of its composition. For steaks and things along those lines, but it ends up getting used for dog treats, and it's an absolutely awesome dog treats. Dogs tend to absolutely love this stuff. It helps to give their mouth a workout in terms of just chewing through it, and it's fairly long lasting. I mean, depending on your dog, they might get through this fairly quickly, but these also tend to be a little bit more expensive, not as expensive as bully sticks. So nice in terms of seeing this included here. So it's a 10 to 12 inch backstrap. I think overall Bowie and Ultron would absolutely love this. So that pretty much wraps up April in terms of what we have included. If you go ahead and price everything out, overall the pricing in terms of what PawPack is going to be giving you is approximately about $35 a month. If you do their auto subscription, it's about, I think, $31, $32 a month. And if you go on face MSRP value, so the manufacturer suggested pricing, and generally what you see, discount sales and things like that, you're pretty much getting about that amount, or potentially maybe saving a little bit of money. I think the bigger point here is probably the convenience, along with, of course, the sourcing of things you might not always have available to you at your local retailers. Of course, with the internet, that changes a lot of different factors as well. But that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the next month. So moving from April, we've got May's box right here. And I'm just going to give a little Ultron a little bit of an affection right here. Come on, buddy. Jump. Good boy. There you go. All right. He's been pretty good. He's pretty excited here. He's been seeing these boxes here, and he's been wanting to have at them for a while and find out what's going on. So he's just pretty interested. So go ahead. Sit, Ultron. Good boy. All right. So let's take a look and see what we've got here in terms of May. All right. So same thing like before. Of course, you've got your included card, which is going to give you all your details regarding what comes included in terms of manufacturers and some of the specific benefits or attributes of the product in itself. So first up right here, we've got Alien. This is another, once again, a chew toy. It's got a squeaker in it. Ultron, now down. Ultron is definitely smelling. There's actually a bully stick in there and a pig ear, so I think he's definitely interested in that. Although both Bowie and Ultron are interested once again in the squeaker. So same thing that we talked about in the previous month. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of these type of chew toys. I do feel that they're pretty easy, and I think that definitely for a dog, in terms of their weight, I think that a dog 50 pounds and over, this isn't necessarily the best item for them to get. That's Bowie and Ultron playing right there, just so you guys know. But, you know, same thing. If you guys like this, if you guys are a fan of it, once again, we're going to try to see if we can work with PawPack on possibly getting exchange, see if they're willing to do that for us, and see how that part of their service works. So moving over from Alien Flex Bobo, I believe his name is, we got a galactic pig ear. Not really too much information here. It's just pretty much, they say, an American sourced pig ear. So these are great in terms of dogs. A dog, I really feel like Ultron, he's actually an American Bulldog mix with a Pitbull mix. Even for Bowie, who's actually, she's got quite a bit of mix in her, in terms of, she's quite a bit of mutt. She could get through this pretty quickly. So again, for 50 pounds, I mean, this is the size you're going to get for a pig ear, but I'm just saying this probably for most dogs, if they're interested in having this, it's going to maybe last you in the vicinity of a couple minutes, less than 5 minutes, I would say, in many situations. Smaller dog, of course, might take quite a bit longer, so you might find it a little bit more enjoyable. Still a really nice treat to give a dog. So it's nice to see included in there. Once again, I love the fact that it's fully digestible, and of course, it's American source, which is great when we're talking about meat-based proteins. So this is included. So here we've also got a bully stick. This bully stick right here doesn't have too much information in terms of the manufacturer. So a lot of times in the bully sticks, not all of them are going to be sourced from the United States. You're going to actually find that quite a bit of them, they're sourced from South America, maybe New Zealand, Brazil, places like that. You know, usually as long as the company, they have high quality facilities and things like that, I trust in them. I would prefer, there are some manufacturers that are exclusive in terms of getting their bully sticks in terms of being sourced in the United States and Canada. I think that gives you the highest level in terms of the caliber, but all the way around, you know, we're trusting that PawPack has done their due diligence in terms of the companies that they're working with. There are definitely thicker bully sticks. This is a 12-inch. I would probably say that, you know, the cost of these, they really vary. I'd say the highest grade, the thickest ones might go up to the vicinity of maybe $5 to maybe $6.50. This, I think, is probably closer to about like a $2.50 to $3 bully stick. So not bad though, definitely nice. Same thing though. This would probably, I would think, take Ultron in the vicinity of probably, I'd say less than 10 minutes for sure. To finish this entirety off. While some of the other bully sticks that we have that's 12-inch for reference would probably take him at least maybe about 25 to maybe about 35 minutes to finish. So I'm definitely a big fan of bully sticks, and I just wanted to give you guys a compare and contrast for the bully stick that we offer Ultron occasionally. Now we'll give bully sticks to both Ultron and Bowie. Sometimes we'll cut them in half. Sometimes I'll give him the entirety. It just depends. They are fairly high in terms of calorie composition, so it's not something you generally want to give your dog every day. But you can see right here in terms of the overall thickness, it's quite a bit thicker. This, what I would say, this is maybe in the vicinity of 2 times, maybe almost 3 times. Overall, but they're both 12 inches. So just to go to show you quite a bit of a difference. But for you guys that are giving your dogs plastic chews or rawhide, much better option here that's fully digestible and at least actually has nutritional value to it compared to rawhide, which has 0 nutritional value, or plastic or different things like that, which over time can be ingested by your dog and can cause problems and aren't healthy, and they're not, something that you probably really want to be giving your dog. Next, we've got another toy here. This is Rogz, the world's coolest pet gear, is what they state here at Asteroidz. It's pretty much a soft foam ball. Personally, I feel this is too small for a 50-pound dog. even though Ultron's pretty much at that 15-bar market, especially if you had a much larger dog, I feel that your dog could almost ingest this, especially with this being that it's foam, while it's fairly firm, which is what they're advocating essentially, that, you know, this is, it can float, it can still bounce, makes a good fetch toy. Maybe for a smaller sized dog, it's a possibility. Biggest concern I have with something like this is, once again, is if the dog was to essentially gnaw on this, chew on this over time, it can be ingested, which would not be a good thing. Now there's a little meter they give here, Bitometer 3 medium, I guess, as far as maybe the toughness scale or what the dog may be interested in. Again, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of what's included here, but you guys can see it's a little, I guess, you know, ball that you can play fetch with, or that you could potentially give your dog as a chew toy. Although with something like this, I would never leave it for your dog as a chew toy. Okay, so next here, what else we got? Okay, so we've got a little night light. So this is these actually have been around for a little while. They maximize on the benefits of LEDs, which, for you guys that don't know, LEDs, it's a new form of lighting technology that you can now get in, you know, all kinds of different types of lighting products, including bulbs. And so there's a little LED in here, and that means it'll last for a really, really long period of time. You can clip this essentially to your dog's collar, and when your dog is out and about, you've got a little bit of brightness. Their brightness is not necessarily exceedingly high. It does aid a little bit in visibility if you're walking your dog at night. So it's a nice little inclusion. This is you know, these will vary. You'll find them online depending on the manufacturer. This is a better known manufacturer in terms of the quality and things along those lines, but of approximate similar value, I'd probably say in the range of about $3 to about $5. One thing I will openly say, I'm not a fan of this product at all, and this type of LED product, specifically because they utilize watch batteries. So these are essentially are non-recyclable batteries, non-rechargeable batteries, and when essentially they're done, you're going to dispose of them. And these pretty much ends up in landfills most times. So the LED light will last you quite a period of time, but the amount of times that you'll probably have to replace this light over its period of life is something that I wish would be kind of considered a little bit more in terms of that regard. But it's a nice addition if you want it there. All right, so last up here in this box is very similar to the Tucker, something I'm very excited about. Ultron, come. And I think something that Ultron's going to be super excited about, sits, and that's going to be Grandma's Lucy's products. Very similar to Tucker's. This is, I consider them a premium, really top tier, sourced in America, American-based company that produces dog food and dog treats of really grade A caliber. Diversified protein composition, great quality, very minimal based processing in terms of whatever is present inside the product. So this is going to be their Whitefish. Whitefish is a generic term for different types of fish that are not distinctive, but that a lot of us eat. And they're freeze-dried once again, so you're very similar to the Tucker's based product. You could use this as a topper, you could hydrate it, you could use it as a singular treat. I normally keep them on an alternating mix of different products that we have opened, and we've just kind of finished up a couple. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give him a quick taste test of this one right off the bat. So Ultron historically is not the biggest fan of fish. Bowie tends to be a fan of just about every single type of protein out there. But we're going to see if he shows some interest in this one. It seems like he liked that. Okay, and Bowie, come Bowie. Good girl. And sit. Good girl. And Bowie, yes, Bowie seems excited. So let's see, we'll go Ultron. Sometimes Ultron does a quick taste and go for the second time. He's not necessarily as interested. Okay, high five. Yeah, good job, buddy, good job. Here you go. There you go. All right, so I think he definitely approves. And so I think this is a fantastic item to see included. Once again, really premium quality treats. So this is something I'm excited about. And same thing, because they are a bit more of a premium manufacturer, and it's not something you're going to necessarily see on a national level. I think this is, once again, one of the benefits you're going to have with this type of PawPack subscription service is having access to a company like Grandma Lucy's be included within your products. So I think a really nice addition to end out this month's box. All right, so we move to the last box here. So this is, I believe, June's box, which just finished up as we're now here in July. A little bit of change of a color here. We got a little green box, I believe, where the previous ones were kind of like a more bluish box, but pretty much the same thing. So let's see what we've got included in this month's box. So right off the bat, we can see that we've got another type of toy that's included here. So some people might refer to this as a chew toy. Ultron, I think, is very interested in this. We generally, like I said, for Ultron, I like tug with him, so I use different types of ropes. Some toys like this, these are a little bit interesting because they have different texture. They've got multiple squeakers. They do have some reinforced stitching. These, it's the extreme triple squeak. And pretty much what a lot of these advocate is that, you know, of course, that you know, they have a high level of durability for even aggressive dogs in terms of their chewing habits or how they might go on it. Ultron's extremely intelligent, like a lot of different dogs, and they'll figure out ways. He actually will nibble at the entirety seams to take things apart. So once again, I would prefer to see an option where you could remove all of these and you could either focus on getting more food-based items. Another option that I really love to see is I would be willing to have maybe less in a box to get a really high-grade premium American-based toy. So like Westpaw Designs makes some absolutely top-shelf, really high-quality chew toys and play toys. And if I only got maybe one of those and maybe one or two other food items, I would be willing to do that as opposed to going with, I think, some other types of the products that I see included in here. But there you go. So it's essentially a little tug toy with squeakers. These squeakers, I can tell you at least one nice thing compared to one of the other toys that we saw before. There's no stuffing, so I'm a fan of that. So even if the dog gets on the inside, there's nothing there necessarily for them to ingest, although you still have the squeaker in itself. But these are a newer type of squeakers that also are puncture resistant. So essentially, even if there is a puncture, they still squeak. So we've got that included. We've got another, I guess, toy in here. I guess they perceive this as being a chew toy. I would never use this as a chew toy. Essentially, all it is very minimal fabric. Ultron, come. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Down. And it's pretty much just foam then from in there. So I would really be concerned that over time, dog may ingest this. Now, they say that it's PrideBites, it squeaks, it floats, it's durable, it's machine washable. You know, some of those things definitely on face value, they're definitely true, but definitely not really the biggest fan of this guy right here. But it's got a squeaker in it, so for you guys that like squeakers and want to maybe give something to your dog, if your dog's very minimal in terms of how they go about and treat their toys. Take for instance Bowie, our other dog that we have. She doesn't seem as focused with her toys to necessarily want to take them apart or chew them apart, so that might maybe be okay, but you know your dog's best in that regard. So let's keep taking a look at what's in the box. So next here in the box is another product that I was actually really excited to see. It's from the Bear and the Rat. So this is a great little company that manufactures some really, really cool stuff. They manufacture actually frozen, I believe it's like ice cream. It's essentially dog ice cream for your dog. And they absolutely love it. Now you can do this. We actually home make our own stuff here, and it's not really that complicated, but they make some really nice diversified flavors, and it's great in terms of the convenience of giving your dog something to be able to cool them down, or also as a nutritional treat. You know, of course, you've got the active cultures in there, so that's good in terms of probiotics, helping to keep a healthy gut, which is great for your dog. So this right here you essentially have is their Fro-Yo to Go, which is essentially their frozen yogurt, and it's essentially freeze dried. And you can give it to your dog as a training treat or as a treat. Come here, Ultron. Ultron is a huge fan of these guys right here. So this is their bacon flavor with real yogurt. I'm going to go ahead and actually open up these right here and show you guys. So they're really small. They almost look like flattened white pumpkin seeds, if you want to kind of look at them that way. You know, a lot of people end up kind of sometimes I think wonder about the size of dog treats. A lot of times I think that most dog treats are actually far too big. Dogs have really sensitive palates, and a lot of times I think smaller is better. It allows you to maximize how much you're giving your dogs. And so I'm entirely fine with these actually in their current size, and I think it's great. But a lot of the other treats, you know, it's really easy to just cut them down and give them to your dog. But as you can see, Ultron really loves these. And Bowie's a fan here too. So really nice to see these included in here. Great US made treat as well. So let's go ahead and keep taking a look and what's else in the box. So also included here in this month's box is another item that I'm really excited to see. This is a pretty premium treat. Not necessarily a lot of retailers that have these. And these are from Smart and Tasty. This is their Piggy Twizzler. It's a 12-inch. And one of the really nice things I love about this is the minimal ingredients and the high quality of the ingredients. Another, of course, US-based product. So this is the primary item is pork meal, which is fantastic to see with meals being really dense in terms of their protein-based value. Ultron, come. Good boy, come. Ultron. Come. Good bear. I think he's still interested. He smells something else that's inside there. There's some Barkworthies stuff in there, which he's a big fan of. But overall, this is a really nice based item. It's 12 inches. It's got a bit of a hard texture to it. You can almost snap them. So it's not necessarily a chew because for some dogs, some smaller dogs may take a little bit of time to chew through this, but for most dogs, they'll kind of crunch it and then chew it down and then finish it off. So this would still be finished, I'd say, within 5 minutes if you literally give this to a large-based dog. Definitely Ultron or anything larger would finish this easily within a 5-minute time frame, as they'll just crunch this down. Smaller dogs, of course, could take a longer period of time, but a nice treat to see included within the box. So I'm definitely a big fan of this guy right here. So getting close to the end here, we've got Barkworthies, another fantastic manufacturer. I love to see. They make all kinds of different types of chews and different types of treats for dogs that focus on minimal ingredients, high quality proteins, great sourcing. So here we've got their beef hamburger, minimal item. Same thing here. The quantity terms, the pricing, I think, manufacturers suggested retail price. You could probably find some places that would sell these for a few dollars, but if you go to some places, you could probably find these for, I think, about $1 to maybe $2. But overall, still a nice little treat. Definitely same thing. This is something that, it's nice in terms that this is primary ingredient here is first beef as opposed to something else, which is nice. And you've got a good amount of protein that's also included within this. So, it's pretty much probably going to be one for Bowie and one for Ultron. So nice little minimal items, but same thing. This is going to be gone pretty quickly, but nice little thing to be able to treat your dog with. So Barkworthies beef hamburger. So last but not least here, we've got, I think, some little bands in here. So they said worldwide animal protection. This is kind of cool, I guess, in terms of being an advocate for, different things like that. One thing that PawPack does do that is nice is that they do give back in terms of different things, whether it's going to be to local shelters for things like spay and for neutering, which you definitely always want to do for your dogs, as well as different activities. So that's nice to see in terms of them advocating, communicating, things along those lines. So here we've got Pet Naturals of Vermont. They're actually a pretty cool company. They make quite a number of different types of products that have a kind of a little bit of a focused scientific aspect by it in terms of how it can benefit your dog in terms of things like probiotics, calming your dogs down, or different things along those lines. So this one right here is PawPack. We didn't really note it, but every month they tend to have a theme featured month. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of theme featured months because I feel that it kind of takes away a little bit in terms of the focus on always giving you something that is always valuable as opposed to kind of buying into something that's commoditized for a specific activity. That being, we're Americans here. We love the 4th of July, and it's fantastic in terms of that they're giving you something to kind of help your dog out during that period. So PawPack here for the 4th of July has essentially included these Pet Naturals of Vermont. So these are calming aids. You can see these from actually quite a number of different manufacturers that use essentially natural ingredients that will work with the dog's metabolism, that help to reinforce certain attributes in terms of calming the dog and reducing the dog's stress. In my experience, I feel that, minimizing the amount of exposure for your dog, giving them a comfortable environment, things like a crate, comfortable items is probably going to be, I think, more impactful. Not to say that these companies haven't spent time and due diligence to, I guess, hopefully be able to provide something of value. One thing I would say is that I wish that this type of product had a higher, I guess, standard treat or food-based protein mixture here, where protein is not the primary ingredient. At the same time, they have used some good quality, high quality ingredients here that they're utilizing for the purposes of calming or essentially reducing the level of stress for your pet at those times. So if it's something that you find in terms of that maybe your dog is a little bit more on edge at certain times, you want to give them something that'll maybe let it calm down, you can see if it works for you. I've seen a lot of different products they have, and I will say that the company does look like they have a solid track record in terms of producing products that people have responded well towards, and that people have a positive experience with them. So that's a good inclusion in terms of that, if that's something that you're interested in. So with that, let's go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a conclusion and wrap up across what we've had now with 3 months of PawPacks and what our thoughts are in terms of the different composition and what the take is. So wrapping things up, I finished taking a look at the included card, which you definitely want to do. There's a lot of good information, as I noted, that breaks down kind of the themed month and all the included items. And those bands that we saw included there were essentially part of an initiative that PawPack is working with in terms of a company, an organization, World Animal Protection, which is essentially funding a campaign to give rabies vaccinations to hundreds of thousands of dogs. And I think that's an awesome campaign, as when you go about supporting any type of company, it's not just about the product or the service that they're providing, but also how they're contributing back and what they're doing to be able to better society and their communities. And I think that's a great representation of PawPack's commitment to be able to improve the lives of different pets around the world. So that's great. So you want to make sure to check out the link. It's going to be included in the description, and you can of course find out more by checking out their website and everything along with that. So wrapping up here our perspective in terms of PawPack across 3 months, I think that's going to be a good representation of kind of what you can expect in terms of the breadth and the depth of the different types of products. So we saw a fairly high mixture, of course, from treats and chews, and then of course toys. So recapping some of my commentary that I already gave as we looked through each of the months, I think that in terms of what we saw for a lot of the treats, in terms of the food-based, let's say, items, those were great. We saw a lot of good quality vendors. We saw US-based sourced, high-quality proteins that we can feel confident in terms of their quality, being able to give those to our dogs. Also, I think a good amount of diversity, which is nice. You want to be able to have different types of proteins. I think the option that they have in terms of having grain-free, non-grain-free options is another plus point. I'd love to even see a little bit more granularity with time in terms of giving them a little bit more selection. I think it was a little bit of a hit or miss in terms of the weight option classification. We set ours actually at 50 pounds and over, and I feel that definitely some of the items didn't necessarily meet that mark in terms of, I feel, of giving a good enough value to dogs of larger size. So I think that if you're a big dog owner, for me, I don't consider Ultron a large dog. I consider him, medium to large dog. But for you guys out there that have things, Huskies, Malamutes, German Shepherds, Weimaraners, any of these much larger dogs, I think some of these items you're going to find are going to be fairly trivial in terms of giving your dog. It's not going to be something that's going to go a huge amount away. At the same time, this is kind of, I think, a supplemental service, and I think that it does its job well in terms of giving you diversity in different products that you can get exposed to. Look at those companies and find out different options for you. But I would love them to see maybe really offering a little bit more specialized focus for these larger breeds. Now, beyond the treats, as we move into the things like the toys, I think this is where I probably found the biggest issue with, and that's a little bit from our perspective here at Experiences with My Dog. I'm not the biggest fans of stuffed or these type of chew toys. I did like the inclusion of the Beco hemp rope because I think that can be, like I said, utilized as a tug toy, and I think tug is a great way to be able to exercise and work with and bond with your dog. And many chew toys can also be used in that regard, but for many owners, I feel that they're going to end up using some of these products as a throwaway item to be able to give to their dog. It ends up getting thrown away, probably ends up getting put in the landfill. It has minimal usage. So I'd love to be able to see advanced visibility, maybe to be able to change that as an item. We'll see, and we'll report back to you in terms of what the experience PawPack is, in terms of saying, hey, we didn't like this item. Can we change this for something else? But having essentially a precursor to that, and be able to change that beforehand, or essentially remove that all altogether to have different options, I think would be something I would really love to see. All the way around, I'm going to give it, I think a moderate recommendation for you guys that are out there. If you're interested in checking out this service, I think the pricing is fairly reasonable. It's a company that is, we can see that's now been around for a period of time, which I think is important. My last count, I think I've seen close to maybe 20, maybe even 25 different types of these pet or dog subscription services. And there's a lot of different variation in terms of how they handle different attributes. At the same time, if you're going to be spending a monthly amount to be able to bring your dog something, I think it's important to be able to know that the company is there. It's going to be there for a period of time, and you can feel confident in your investment. So I think that's very important. And I give also a lot of credit to PawPack to do a lot of things in the right way in terms of their sourcing of their ingredients and the companies that they work with, and giving a lot of information on their website. So we're going to have more information behind some of the aspects of the company and some of the aspects of the service. I will say one last note is that for people that kind of wonder about cancellation options, I do feel that they had a better better options for canceling their service if you decide to do that after a certain period of time. Right now, they kind of make you go through an email process as opposed to, I think that a consumer should always have an easy route if they want to log straight into their account, into their website, and they want to be able to cancel things, that they can do that. I think having to go through a little bit more of a rigmarole is a way of probably increasing their retention. At the same time, they still do allow for it as a straightforward process. They don't make it complicated once you contact them to go through that. But all the way around, was pretty satisfied, and like I said, moderate recommendations. So as always, if you guys can make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, thumbs up, leave your feedback. That's always going to be appreciated. We're going to have a lot more content coming here on the channel as we go through different things. And if you guys have any feedback on things that you'd like to see, feel free and let me know. So with that, don't forget to spay and neuter your dogs, and take care, take it easy, and enjoy the rest of your day.